Previously in my last video, I discussed a lot of my problems with Crystal Dynamics' Marvel's Avengers. In doing so, I went into major depth as I discussed every single problem I had with Marvel's Avengers. Before I give a very short summary of the problems, I do highly encourage you to go watch the video. It's not only informative, but it'll give you more background regarding my perspective when it comes to the game itself. The problems I have with Marvel's Avengers are the following. Crystal Dynamics seems to not understand the Avengers as characters. Previously, there was no content roadmap for the game. The story is generally lackluster. There's little to no enemy variety. The XP rework is entirely unneeded, and the Avengers themselves aren't enjoyable to play as until they're max level. Once again, I absolutely encourage you to go watch that video because I heavily go into every single one of those points. Now with that being said, there happened to be a fairly jam-packed Square Enix Presents digital event that contained brand new Avengers news. To simplify the Avengers news, there's finally a roadmap for this game with things that may be worth looking forward to, which was a massive complaint in my previous video, and Black Panther finally got announced. This was supposed to be announced earlier but got delayed due to the unfortunate passing of Chadwick Boseman. Rest in peace, Chadwick. Not to be negative, but the immediate thought I had after all of this news got announced was, how close do they stick to these dates? Sure, there aren't hardcore dates on the content roadmap, but there's at least seasonal dates. Delays are inevitable, especially with the ongoing pandemic. Plus, they did delay both Kate Bishop, who was supposed to release in October, but released on December 8th instead, and Hawkeye, who just recently released on March 18th. That's a 4-month gap between two content drops, and as I said in my previous video, I did play Kate Bishop's Operation Taking Aim. That content drop lasted me at least 2 to 3 days only. And just to remind everyone, these characters were supposed to launch much closer to the Avengers launch and both be out within a month of each other's releases. As interesting as some of these roadmap content drops are, such as the Red Room Takeover, which will hopefully be timed with Black Widow's theatrical release, and the Cosmic Cube content drop, there's several pieces of content that are labeled under Summer and Beyond. Cosmic Cube, Wasteland Patrol, and War for Wakanda are all labeled under that category. That could mean that the Cosmic Cube content drops in June, while Wasteland Patrol drops in August or even late fall, and then Black Panther drops later on in winter. We literally don't know, and that's legitimately giving Crystal Dynamics the benefit of the doubt that nothing on their content roadmap gets delayed. It's almost concerning that we didn't at least get a hard date for the Tachyon Anomaly event, because that would at least add some certainty to counteract all of these worries. I understand not having a hard date for the Red Room Takeover, because as I said, that seems to be an event timed for Black Widow's release, which we still don't have yet from Marvel. However, if I'm being honest, the way they presented everything within the Avengers segment of Square Enix Presents was poorly done. In my opinion, the way they should have paced it is the following. Start off with a fairly quick paced montage reminding everyone that Hawkeye and the next gen content drop is available now. Immediately follow it up revealing the content roadmap and have someone doing a voiceover going into an equal amount of detail for each major content drop. Then saying, that's not all, here's one more thing, and then follow up with the Black Panther trailer. That's it. That's all they had to do to really land the impact and showcase that they really care about this game. Of course, regardless of what people saw, everyone's going to remember the Black Panther reveal, but having a less detailed version of the actual content roadmap won't allow people to remember or even care about these events on the roadmap. And that especially goes for the players who are looking for reasons to come back to Avengers and reinvest their time into the game. For comparison's sake, here's the roadmap that they showed on the stream, and here's the roadmap that was posted on a Forbes article. This roadmap should have been properly showcased and lightly touched on piece by piece. They could have easily taken off a huge chunk of Hawkeye's portion of the showcase and put more time into going over the roadmap instead of Hawkeye. It's simple stuff like that that can truly make or break the impact of a video game announcement. This brings me to Black Panther and the War for Wakanda. Admittedly, out of everything on the Marvel's Avengers 2021 roadmap, this is the number one thing I'm hyped for, just like everyone else. Clearly, Black Panther looks amazing, and I do hope that his moveset is interesting and has a fun gameplay loop. There's two problems regarding the War for Wakanda though. When is the War for Wakanda actually dropping? Is it farther than we think? Is it closer than we think? Should we just be thankful that we at least know about this finally? And of course, there are people who are more concerned about Spider-Man's reveal already. That doesn't necessarily shock me, considering I did say that Spider-Man is going to likely be their biggest character if he actually swings his way to Marvel's Avengers. Ironically, at this point in time, it's actually just been confirmed that Spider-Man is delayed beyond the start of the summer. So anyone who's interested in Spider-Man is likely going to be waiting much longer than they probably expect. Regardless, Black Panther's content drop seems like it's going to be bigger than Kate Bishop and Hawkeye. They're finally adding new villains and enemy types, which coincidentally was another big point I made in my previous video. Hopefully, Black Panther's arrival will have a huge impact on Marvel's Avengers because from a distance, it looks like it has the ability to possibly be game-changing for them. Despite potential delays on the 2021 roadmap, there's actually something else that I'm slightly worried about, which happens to be the outfits inspired by the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I did mention that they failed to capitalize on this audience in my previous video, but what I didn't mention was my problem with Marvel's Avengers microtransactions overall. This was partially due to the fact that I thought it dragged my video's runtime, because as a person who actively plays video games but doesn't beat them, pun clearly intended, their microtransactions bother me a lot. Every Avenger in this game basically has skins that either go on a marketplace for a limited period of time, stuck on a character-specific battle pass, or you can instantly buy it on the character because it's just sort of there. The problem is that most of the skins are literally the same skin, but simply recolored, and it's pretty scummy to do something like that. I understand that they have to make money somehow, considering Marvel's Avengers lost Square Enix $60 million, and their content drops are free. However, if you're gonna literally sell the same skin but in different colors, just let me pay a fair price of like $9.99 or something, where I get a pack of 5 skins out of the exact same. Bringing this back to the outfits inspired by the Marvel Cinematic Universe thing, they can't afford to somehow mess this up. They simply can't. It's already gonna be weird seeing those skins in this game considering they're not voice acted by the MCU cast, but if they fumble the bag on this, there might be a big backlash. The entire cast of the MCU are known literally globally. Don't get me wrong, if they sell it as a pack or do something where we can earn it fairly in-game, and they're not all priced at like $7.99 each, I might buy into those outfits. However, if they fumble the bag and screw those skin designs up, you have to wonder whether they'll end up fixing any potential problems with those outfits. Fair play though, Crystal Dynamics is finally trying to hopefully capitalize on the MCU fandom with these skins. Hopefully, they don't screw these skins up at all. By the way, that Wasteland Patrol content actually seems like Destiny's version of Patrol. In an IGN article, it states the following: Patrol is a brand new game mode that will first be introduced to the Wasteland area released in the Hawkeye update. It's designed as one large overland map where players can move from one area to the next. Enemies and activities will continuously spawn across the map without a single set objective like other mission types, allowing freedom for the player to engage with what they like doing in the area. This is what Marvel's Avengers needed since the beginning of the game, a mode that people can constantly play because it gives them multiple reasons to keep coming back. Wasteland Patrol can actually be a massive solution for Avengers' lack of content, and Crystal Dynamics can actually use this to implement stuff like random events. In example, when you'd patrol in Destiny, there would be public events that would happen, such as defeating various waves of enemies to get an award. What if a random wave of aimbots with modifiers appear? Or what about sometimes random bosses like Taskmaster, Abomination, or even MODOK himself appear to come fight you for a full battle with other Avengers, regardless if their CPUs are actual players. This could also allow Crystal Dynamics to implement rare villains that only happen for various periods of time, like a couple of weeks or even for just a weekend, and if you manage to kill those villains with other players, you'd get a rare reward. Creating actual incentives beyond having a regular consistent content loop that gives players reasons to keep coming back would make it worth it. Plus, it'd get people to come back during those weekends, and it'd heavily boost the player populations on each platform since crossplay has yet to be implemented. Again, I acknowledge that these ideas on paper do sound much easier said than done considering there's an ongoing pandemic, but I can dream, alright? Still, if Crystal Dynamics can somehow get the Wasteland Patrol out as soon as possible in the summer, this could actually be really good for Avengers, especially if it's sometime close after the Cosmic Cube event releases. So where do I stand with Marvel's Avengers? If you didn't watch my previous video, or any of my previous videos, I like to always give credit where credit's due. There are various complaints that I did mention in my previous video that have actually been answered, thankfully. Right now, this roadmap at least does the job of giving the players something to look forward to, whether it's Wasteland Patrol, Tachyon Anomaly, Red Room Takeover, Cosmic Cube, or Black Panther in the War for Wakanda. On paper, there's at least something for everyone on this roadmap. The problem is that due to the ongoing pandemic and the track history so far with Crystal Dynamics, I don't know if we can necessarily give them the benefit of the doubt. Don't get me wrong, I want to be fair to them. That's exactly why I added this disclaimer in my previous video. Before I voice my frustrations with Marvel's Avengers, I feel the need to state the following. I understand that due to the ongoing pandemic, the game development process has only gotten harder. That doesn't apply to just this game either, it applies to the entire gaming industry. I know that because of these struggles, things such as upcoming content drops, patches, and even upcoming things on the internal roadmap that we don't even know about for this game have likely been heavily delayed. This isn't my problem with Marvel's Avengers. In fact, I sympathize with every single developer going through these struggles. It's just that among delaying Marvel's Avengers launch date, Kate Bishop, Hawkeye, and even the overall lack of communication from them throughout the heavily bumpy road that has been Marvel's Avengers, they haven't given us a reason to say, you know what, I can trust you to release all of this content in a timely manner. Me trusting them to do that is simply not happening. Regardless of how interesting this roadmap actually is, the biggest factors are going to be seeing them hopefully sticking to those seasonal dates and how long the players will have to wait in between each content drop. Is it going to be a few weeks, a month, a couple of months? Timing is going to be everything for this roadmap, and unfortunately, Crystal Dynamics doesn't have PIM particles to travel back in time to fix any potential upcoming internal delays. On top of that, I may be reading into things, but the Play Avengers Twitter account tweeted this out. We've been seeing questions about the expansion. Just to be specific, this is regarding the Black Panther expansion. To clarify, for those who own the core game, it will be available at no additional cost later this year. What do they mean by those who own the core game? It's just weird language all around when it comes to this tweet, but is there a potential free-to-play version of Avengers coming out soon? Man, who knows? It's just weird that they used that wording, and I thought it was worth bringing up. Overall, I have to give credit where it's due. Right now, and this is dependent on giving Crystal Dynamics the benefit of the doubt, if they could release the upcoming content in a timely manner, Marvel's Avengers will be in a much better place than it's been in. If the content on the roadmap isn't months apart, this would give people reasons to continuously come back and actually have reasons to want to keep putting more time into Avengers. However, if they fumble the overall timing of the roadmap, Avengers could technically be in the same place that it's in now, but in the future. At least right now, we have several things to actually look forward to and can get at least slightly excited about. All that's left is for them to remove the unnecessary XP rework and crossplay, and then everyone will be overall happy again because right now, Marvel's Avengers has a vision, pun intended. For that exact reason, I'm signing off this video by saying Avengers, remain on standby. We might have to assemble sometime soon. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button. If you really enjoyed this video, hit that sub button. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, write a comment down below. Don't forget to keep it real with peace, love, and positivity.